Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine
What's
a light
your
on
story?
incredible. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager here at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, we are joined by Chelsea Elder, the Executive Director of Adaptive Adventures. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here today, and let's just jump right into it. So, Chelsea, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I actually started with Adaptive Adventures as a volunteer in 2010, and I've been with the organization since 2014 on staff. Been the executive director since 2017, but my brother has a physical disability, and how I was first introduced to adaptive sports. And then my dad was a disabled Vietnam veteran, and I was his caregiver. So the program is very near and dear to my heart and close to my family, and just so happy to be a part of this organization.
That's awesome. So often within disability, you don't get the touches to really understand disability until you're immersed in it, whether you have it yourself, a friend, a family member. Like I know before my injury, I knew nothing about disability. Like I was a teenager and all I knew was that Superman was paralyzed. And then when I had my spinal cord injury and broke my neck, it's like a whole new world that I got immersed into. And we kind of all have our own unique stories and how we get there, but it's for too often it's not a matter of if, but when.
Yes,
Because
definitely.
disability will eventually touch you in some shape or form. So like with Adaptive Adventures, tell us some of the work you're doing. I know we were just chatting a second ago, but you have some 600 programs. Just tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing in the community.
Yeah, so our organization was founded in 1999 by two individuals with physical disabilities. And at the time, they really saw a need for adventure sport opportunities outside of the Paralympic route. And so we started with an accessible houseboat trip on Lake Powell, and then started doing like some high adventure ski camps in Banff, Canada, and Jackson Hole, Grand Targhee. And then it was about in 2014 that the organization really realized they had were able to serve an unmet need, and that is a traveling adaptive sport agency. So we are the only organization that's fully mobile, and we have one office in Westminster, Colorado, and then one in Schaumburg, Illinois. And we travel the country with over 18 equipment-filled trailers to provide services in unserved and underserved areas of the country. So we run about 650 programs a year and have 10 staff. And we provide programs in cycling, climbing, kayaking, paddleboarding, dragon boat racing, skiing, water skiing, and rafting.
All right, so tell me about your website. How do people learn more? How do people sign up?
Yeah, so if you go to adaptiveadventures.org, you are able to create your own profile. And there's also an events tab page, so you can click on the events link and you can see all of the different programs that we run. We run programs in 30 different states. So if you're interested in getting involved, but you're not sure where to get involved, you can also email us or send us a Facebook message to let us know that you need some additional help getting connected with resources.
And so why is it so important that people with disabilities have access to adaptive recreation programs?
Yeah, our goal as an organization is to help people to become independent in the sports that they are interested in participating in. So, getting their own sporting equipment, being able to recreate with their family again, or maybe for the first time ever in their life. But we know that adaptive sports improves people's quality of life. So whether that's their physical health, emotional, social, it's really being out in nature and being able to recreate together is just helps lessen depression, anxiety, all those different things. So it's just so much better to be off the couch and out participating with others.
Do you have any like personal stories you could share of just like how transformative an experience these can be?
Yeah. Like a special story that comes to mind is we provided an adaptive cycling clinic in Texas, and we met a veteran who had had both of her hands burned off. And she came to our adaptive cycling program, and she was like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to be able to do this, but I wanted to come and at least see. And our national cycling manager, Chris Wiegand, was able to fashion an entire braking and shifting system for her to use on a recumbent trike in 30 minutes. And so we were able to leave those adaptations for her to utilize in the future when she got her own bike granted to her. And it was just one of those, like, anything's possible. That was a situation that we hadn't been faced with obviously before, but we were able to make it work and to adapt the equipment so she could have a great time and experience it just like everybody else.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And is she still cycling today? Do you guys?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we have a really big program down there now, and lots of people riding together. So it's we've established a club, a cycling club, and we go back every couple of months to provide more training. So one of the things I didn't mention is that we actually we establish sustainable programming in unserved and underserved areas. So we provide equipment, training, we bring the community together, we train rec therapists and physical therapists, occupational therapists, outfitters, so that there can be a sustainable program within the community.
And are you guys now coast to coast or kind of in the middle of the country?
Yeah, so we soft launched a cycling program in Hawaii, and we're going back in the spring of next year to fully launch it now that we're kind of past the pandemic. And then we also have a sustainable program that we provide in Puerto Rico on a regular basis. So we're really coast to coast. Yeah.
You're beyond coast to coast.
Beyond coast to coast.
I was thinking like, East Coast, West Coast, but you just took it to a new distance. Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. Definitely. And so what are some of these programs that you're putting on? What would you say are some of the most popular ones?
Yeah, our cycling clinics are very popular. We also have intro to climbing programs. We have a dragon boat racing program, which we're one of the only programs in the country that offers that for adaptive athletes. We have
what is that?
Yeah, dragon boat. Dragon boat is the only team sport that we provide, and they're basically 40-foot long open canoes, and there's 20 paddlers on the team. They sit side by side in twos for 10 rows of two. And then they have a drummer in the front and a stern in the back, and it's like going fast and straight. And it's really a cool sport because when everybody's in the boat, you can't tell anybody's ability level at all. So whether they have a visual impairment, an amputation, a spinal cord injury, everybody looks like they are just a standard paddler. And so we'll like either beat teams in competition or like barely like be off by a few seconds. And then they'll pull up and be celebrating. And then they see like us start getting out of the boat. And we're putting like limbs back on and transferring into wheelchairs and stuff. And they're like, oh my gosh, like we didn't even realize we were competing with a team of fully adaptive athletes. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like an all abilities of boat and teamwork is extreme.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool. And so all right, so if you mentioned before about people being interested to get involved, but is this like really, they just go sign up, or it's probably everything's seasonal, things of that nature? Like what advice would you get?
Yeah, things are seasonal. Obviously, when we go into the winter time, we do a lot of more like intro to fitness. We do indoor spin and fitness, indoor rowing. We do skiing. So, and then when we get into the spring, we start doing like the cycling, paddleboarding, climbing, kayaking. So it really just depends on what time of year and where we're at during that time.
And so when families do sign up, are there costs associated? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
That's really important to us. That cost is not a barrier. So we provide all of our programs free of charge.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
So cool.
Yep. And we're only able to do it because of generous donors and sponsors. So we really appreciate all the people who support us so that we
Gotta
can
thank those
continue.
donors.
Yeah, so that we can continue to provide our programs free of charge.
All right, let's say we've got a lot. We're gonna have a lot of people watching this video. So if somebody loves this and wants to be a donor, where can they go?
Yep, they can go to our website at adaptiveventures.org/donate, and they can make a donation there.
I love it.
Yes.
Love it. So I want to hear some more stories and just what are some achievements that you're most proud of?
Well, the establishment of our Puerto Rico cycling program, we're really proud of. That was very difficult. We were supposed to go, and then Hurricane Maria hit. And so we ended up just holding off until the island was back into a place of being able to have our program provided. And since that time, like we sent over 16 adaptive bikes, and we bought a trailer, and now we have a veteran who provides the program every single week in a park, and we've expanded upon that. Now we provide climbing opportunities there, and our national climbing manager, Craig DiMartino, actually moved to Puerto Rico to provide services on a regular basis. We've established a dragon boat racing program. So it's really just shows what we're able to do when we get into a community and kind of continue to build it. That's something we're really proud of. We're also just really proud of the many communities that we have been able to help establish programs. We do a lot of partnerships. So we partner with 180 organizations per year. So we're able to really kind of really just bring everybody together and create a really good, sustainable resource. So.
And when you talk about adaptive cycling, if people are not kind of picturing what this is and the different types of bikes, can you explain kind of what exists out there?
We receive calls all the time where people are like, I just really don't think I can do it. I have this, and this. And we're like, no, we can still get you on a bike. Truly, we can adapt any bike to any type of ability level. So there's hand cycles where you're pedaling it with your hands. There's recumbent trikes where it's more reclined and it's easier for people with back issues. We have tandem recumbent trikes, so you can put two people together. We have upright bikes, tandem uprights, and we have adaptations for everything: grip assistance, AFO pedals. We can change all of the braking and shifting to one side. We have head braking and shifting, elbow braking and shifting. So really anything you can think of, we can make it work.
And even for someone like myself, paralyzed below my shoulders, I have a cycle that my friend pushes me and runs with me or attaches it to the back of a bicycle. And I can go in for a ride. And to tell you the truth, it feels like a roller coaster when I'm on that bicycle.
That's awesome.
Like you're flying on the road.
Feel the wind in your hair. Yeah. Well, I mean, and we also, one of the things that we do that we're also really proud of is we innovate a lot of different new adaptive equipment. So we work with universities all over the country with their human design and engineering programs. And then we also work with mainstream equipment manufacturers. So in climbing, we've worked with numerous different companies. We also work with, we're actually a new partner of REI. So we're one of their charities of choice that they've selected over this last year with their REI Cooperative Action Fund. And so we are really working to expand equipment and have like cutting edge technology. So one of the things that we're currently working on is voice activated shifting and braking. So.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I like that. That's awesome. And are you, so how many people per year do you think you guys touch?
Yeah. So what we actually track, we have about 3,000 people per year, but we do very large national events where we don't track those folks. So it's probably more in the 5,000 people range. But of those people, most people come out at least 2 to 3 times a year. Some people come out, 40 to 100 times per year. So it just depends. Yeah.
Chelsea, thank you for what you do. Yeah. It's so awesome.
Thank you.
All right. I'm being blown away. You guys are reaching so many people, and that's changing lives and perspectives and turning a lot of heads at the same time. And I'm a big believer in adventures because I feel like when you are able to do some type of activity or adventure that gets you outside of your comfort zone, the next challenge, the next obstacle becomes that much easier to overcome.
Definitely.
And it's just making all the different touches that you're doing with 5,000 or so plus people per year. It's just, you're changing the country, you're changing the narrative.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what
so
we hope
it's,
to do, and we also just we just want to see people be impacted to the point where that they can then give back to their community as well. So that's really important to us, is to get folks going and get them started and kind of inspire them and get them to a point where they kind of are reaching their greatest potential, and then they can give it back to others.
I love it. And with doing these programs, do you ever have any programs that are more of like a retreat, like a destination where people go stay and then have different programs each and every other day?
We typically we'll have multi-sport events that we do that are either 1 to 3 days long, where people can do climbing, cycling, kayaking, paddleboarding all at once. We also have some ski camps that we provide, where it's like a week long experience where you can get multiple days in a row of learning to ski. But most of our programs are either like a clinic based for 3 days, or it's kind of one day, or it might be like part of a series. So you come to like intro to cycling for 6 weeks in a row, where you're working from like cycling in a park to like cycling up a canyon kind of experience. So
It's awesome.
yeah.
That's so cool. And I know you talked about REI and other businesses in general. What kind of messages have you been sending, or if you could send one message to kind of like the business world about why they should cater for people with disabilities?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at
What would
the
that be?
statistics by the CDC, 1 in 7 people have a disability that affects their mobility. That's a huge number of people. And so, it's just not so recognized yet still, even though we're doing so much more work in DEI. It's still not recognized the importance of how many people it affects and how many invisible disabilities there are. And so, we are always pushing that, inclusion and accessibility is so important for companies to look at, because it affects the families that are within their community as well. And really just making sure that we continue to push things forward so that more people can be involved, included, because there are incredible leaders within the disability community. And sometimes there's just like very small barriers that need to be overcome for greater inclusion and accessibility.
I agree with that full heartedly. The too often people think of the disability community as just people with disabilities, but it's
Right.
not. It's the caretakers, it's the friends,
Yeah.
it's the family, it's
Yeah.
the healthcare providers. It's
Yeah.
There's so many people that make up the disability
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
and to be inclusive for people with disabilities is opening the door to opportunities.
Yes.
It's creating new customers,
Yes.
especially brand loyal customers that come
Yes.
back and again and again. But
Yes.
it's also connecting with their community.
Yeah, for
And
example, with like REI, where we're on their inclusion marketing board, and I'm on some tourism advisory committees, and we're real with REI. We're really trying to help them with how they are marketing and showing their products, and not just showing the Paralympic athlete with a disability, but showing like the average person with a disability in their marketing, so we can hopefully start to change the narratives so that people understand that it is truly accessible to all to be in the outdoors and enjoy nature.
I love it so much. I feel like I've said I loved it too many times today.
Now we got to get you
It's
out
good
with
stuff.
us, Josh.
I Sign me up.
All right.
I'm all about this.
Sounds good.
And then I would love to lastly ask you if you could have any conversation with anybody in the world, who would it be and why?
Ooh, gosh. Um, I would say for me personally, it would be a more personal one. My dad, who is a disabled Vietnam veteran, I said earlier, passed away this year, and he was just like my biggest supporter. So I think talking with him, I think he'd be very proud of where we're at as an organization. He was like very involved. I think he would be very excited to know kind of what we're doing now. And yeah, just have that one last chance to talk with him. And he was one of our, he was very involved in our programs and a volunteer. So it was he was a really big part of our community.
Well, I know if you heard all the love that was said today about that you're doing, there's no doubt you'd be
Yeah,
so proud
thanks.
and just like you're doing such great work, Chelsea, and
Thanks. Thank you.
Adaptive Adventures. Wow.
Yeah, we have a great
But
team. Like, we just truly have an amazing team of people. So we love what we do, and most of us have either a disability ourselves or somebody in our family that has a disability. So we really live the like Me Too experience of, we understand what it's like to be an inpatient in the hospital and your whole life has changed. So it's really important to us, and we are often called to the bedsides of people at rehab hospitals to tell them that it's not over. They can still be active and they can still enjoy their life.
this is wonderful. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
sharing your journey, for sharing the foundation's journey, and all the great work you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
just thank you for being here today. This is
Thank
awesome.
you, Josh. I really appreciate it. And really, if you have hesitations about going out and trying an adaptive sport program in your area, please feel free to reach out to us, and just get out there and try it. There's no risk in trying it at least one time to see if it's something that you're interested in doing further.
And if you try it once, you might find out that you don't like it. But guess
Yeah.
what? What if you figure out you like it, and then
Yes,
you have something
exactly.
lifelong that you're gonna be able to do for? So
Exactly.
it's got to get out there.
Yep,
And
definitely.
but to all of our viewers, thank you so much for staying to the end of today's accessiBe's Spotlight sessions. And until next time, take care, everyone, and thank you again, Chelsea.
Bye. Thank you.